What's up, people? Let's dive into today's question. Girls, what's something men shouldn't feel insecure about? Story 1. You don't always have to be the tough guy or the macho type. I get that some girls prefer a big, muscular boyfriend, but seriously, guys, it's not necessary. Just be yourself, and I promise you that's the best thing you can do. Story 2. I've seen a lot of guys who, when they get to the climax, hold their breath and try to stifle any sound that might escape. It's honestly kind of sad. I don't get why they're afraid. I want to know they're enjoying themselves. I want to hear that they're having a good time. So guys, don't be afraid to express yourself. Let us hear you scream in pleasure. Forget about the neighbors, and when you feel it, just let it out. Story 3. Yesterday, my husband confessed something to me. He felt less manly because he got fired and couldn't bring in any money until he found a new job. But the truth is, right now, I'm the one supporting the family, and we're doing fine. What matters is that he's not just sitting around doing nothing. He's actively looking for work and helping out at home. For me, he'd only be less of a man if he gave up, sat on the couch all day, and did nothing. But as long as he's working hard and staying productive, I'm happy. That's the real essence of my husband, and that's what I truly value. Story 4. Men hide the fact that they like cats, especially kittens. I don't understand why some guys get all weird when they see these adorable creatures. They should relax and pet the cats just like most girls do. There's nothing wrong with showing affection for animals. Story 5. First of all, don't stress about the hair on your back, it's just hair and it's fine. Second, having a belly instead of abs doesn't make you less of a man. In fact, I get it, it's more practical to have a belly than a six-pack. Third, not having massive biceps isn't the end of the world. I prefer less muscular guys. Fourth, not having a giant member? Sometimes, that's more trouble than it's worth if you don't know how to manage it. And finally, the fifth point, crying or showing emotions in general. As women, we appreciate it, because it's a human thing. Story 6. Guys, just like girls, need affection and care. You don't always have to be the rock we lean on or the shoulder to cry on. It's completely normal for you to need a safe space too, somewhere to express your emotions without feeling judged. At the end of the day, you don't need to be immune to emotions. We don't always need you to wrap us in your strong arms. We can hold hands and walk side by side. It's not about height, weight, or muscles, despite what some toxic girl may lead you to believe. What matters is the kind of person you are, not your physical appearance. Story 7. Some of my friends feel insecure because their beard doesn't grow, or because they've got a little patchiness on their chin. But you know what? It's no big deal. Also, you can't always be the smartest in the room, and that's okay. Acknowledging that you don't know something doesn't make you weak, it shows humility and honesty. If you try to fake it, the only thing you'll get is looking like a poser at the bar, and trust me, that's not the best look you can get. Story 8. It's funny how sometimes masculinity is judged by things that are honestly pretty silly. For example, thinking that liking dogs, wearing pink, or simply being affectionate makes you less of a man. Since when did masculinity exclude these things? Story 9. Men shouldn't feel insecure about being hairy. Personally, I love a hairy chest, and I don't consider back or shoulder hair to be a problem. Sure, some women might not like it, but if someone's willing to discard you for something that's out of your control, they're probably not the right person for you. I'll say this though, hygiene is key. If you have a lot of hair, you might sweat more depending on the weather or how hot it gets, but regular showers and good hygiene take care of everything. And yes, that includes your bum, legs, shoulders, etc. I think the only thing I could ask someone to trim would be an excessive nose hair. Though that can be hidden with a mustache. It's a small detail, but it really makes a difference. In the end, what matters is feeling comfortable in your own skin and maintaining good hygiene. The rest is just personal preference. Story 10. Let's talk about baldness. So many guys try to hide it, even going for hair transplants or wearing caps all the time. However, it would be enough to keep the sides well trimmed, shaved, or even buzzed. In fact, most women find that look attractive, and with just a simple trim, any man can pull it off without resorting to extreme measures. At the end of the day, nature is always attractive. Story 11. There's no reason to feel insecure about enjoying things society might consider feminine. Order that fruity cocktail, enjoy a rom-com, and keep singing in the shower. Own it, and don't feel ashamed. Story 12. I don't know if it's true or not, but I often hear that a lot of guys are really worried about their hair and appearance. A good friend of mine once confessed that he spends about 15 minutes every morning fixing his hair to make sure it looks decent. Personally, I don't usually pay that much attention to guys' hair, unless it's something really different, like a super long hair or buzz cut. It's funny, but those are the only situations where I really notice it. Story 13. Guys, there's no need to feel insecure about showing your emotions, especially in a relationship. I know many who've been conditioned since childhood to think that expressing emotions is a girl thing, but honestly, when a guy opens up and doesn't suppress his feelings, it creates a greater sense of security around him. When the girl feels like she's the only one with real emotions in the relationship, it's hard for her to trust the guy. Also, the guy often feels misunderstood because he can't express what he really feels. So please, guys, let's understand that there's nothing wrong with being a bit more emotional. Story 14. The bellies. My brothers, my nephew, and my dad almost always refused to go to the pool or beach because they were a little chubby. In fact, the only times we've gone together, we've kept our shirts on the whole time. The first time we took our nephew to the pool, he started crying when we told him to take off his shirt. He felt embarrassed because, unlike other kids, he had a little belly. Personally, I don't care about the belly of a guy, just like most of the women I know. Story 15. When I was a young man, I was one of those who could eat anything without gaining a single pound, but I was pretty skinny, which made me a little self-conscious. Throughout my life, I've met many other men who are short, skinny, and body shy, just like me, and many of us have shared the same feeling. Our thinness made us feel insecure. I guess that's the price of eating junk food. Story 16. Right now, I'm at a pool party, and what I'm seeing is a perfect example. There are two big guys in the pool, both very nice, but they decide to wear shirts to hide their bellies, and they just stand there without doing much. But there's a third guy, also overweight, who probably weighs about 20 kilos more than the first two, but he's different. He's wearing a shirt and enjoying himself like a kid, playing carefree in the pool, throwing balls around. And guess what? He ends up being the most attractive to the girls, not because he has a model body, but because he isn't ashamed of himself, and that gives him a confidence that's contagious. Should they all lose weight? Definitely, just like most of us, but what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't stop enjoying life because you're feeling self-conscious. Live your life, have fun. That's what really attracts people. At least, that's my opinion, and as a middle-aged woman, I think I've gained some wisdom on topics like this. Story 17. Basically, anything you can't control. If someone tries to embarrass you for your height, hair, beard, or lack of one, or the size of your member, they're complete idiots. I'm fully convinced that you're worth infinitely more than they are, and they aren't worth your time. I see a lot of criticism toward men for their body type, and that breaks my heart. You don't have to be muscular or have a huge body to be worth something. Story 18. Guys shouldn't feel insecure about breaking masculine stereotypes. If you like doing crafts, like sewing, knitting, or making scrapbooks, that's awesome. And of course, you can wear pretty things and accessories like scarves or bags. If you need a moment to unwind, there's nothing like a bubble bath or a quiet afternoon tea to talk about that annoying guy you met a couple of days ago. And this doesn't make you weak or less of a man, quite the opposite. It shows that you know how to handle your emotions in a controlled, healthy way. Story 19. Guys shouldn't feel so insecure about their bodies. It seems like many guys don't understand that you don't need huge biceps or a six-pack abs for a girl to be attracted to you. Story 20. Over time, I've noticed that it's getting harder for me to deal my socially relationships with emotionally opaque men, especially when it comes to crying. There are many times when I'd rather see a guy cry than see him seem completely unaffected by his emotions. Story 21. It turns out that I've had quite a few friends who felt incredibly insecure about having pimples or acne. I tried to reassure them by telling them that everyone gets it and that we all feel insecure about it sometimes. But they used to say that girls at least have makeup to cover it up. That's why I ended up teaching some of them how to apply a little concealer discreetly so they'd feel more confident about themselves. Story 22. It's funny, but a huge number of guys think that the size of their member matters. When, in reality, relationship problems usually come from having too much size. In this case, bigger doesn't mean better, whether it's length or girth. Story 23. Size and weight of the member. I understand that some people may think this is a lie, but personally, as a woman, I believe that size doesn't determine the quality of intimate relationships. We all have preferences, but with 7 billion people in the world, I think preferences take a back seat. Also, the size of women's intimate areas varies too, something many people forget. Story 24. Baldness. Many of you will lose your hair. In fact, a significant number of you will start losing it in your 20s. Just remember, you're more than your hair. You can be calm. Story 25. Please, no underestimating the value of long hair. Go to the gym, do whatever you want, dive into psychology, law, literature, philosophy, mathematics, start a business, improve yourself as a human being. But please, stop undervaluing your hair. My God, I love how men rock their hair. Nothing makes my heart race more than a man who embraces his long, natural hair. I swear it gives me butterflies. Story 26. Many of the things women are saying in this thread sound nice, but that's all they are, just nice words. In reality, a lot of women do care about height and body size, and they often find it unusual when guys show emotions. Real-life situations are often very different from what we see on the internet. Story 27. Height. I know you might think that any guy who's under 5 feet 7 inches is out of the picture, but if a girl thinks a couple of centimeters are enough to discard you, she doesn't deserve your time either. I'm a short girl, but many of my tall attractive friends have dated guys who are much shorter than they are. So it's really not that important. Story 28. I just wish my boyfriend would believe me when I tell him it's okay if he doesn't make me reach cloud 9 every time we're in bed. I still enjoy it just as much, and even though I can see the disappointment on his face, I understand it's something beyond his control. Story 29. A lot of men feel insecure because they're not pure muscle and don't have a chiseled stomach. Personally, I find chubby bodies really attractive. I'd rather hug someone who feels human than someone who feels like a rock. Well people, that was the last story for today. So, as always, if you liked this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more videos. That's all for today, see you in the next video.